On this episode, one thing a police officer is trained in is observing an event or a situation and objectively noting facts that concern it. Being on night patrol to begin with is a dangerous job. With the darkness surrounding you and danger always lurking, I would think your senses are at peak performance. Tonight, a police officer with many years' experience encounters what he believes was Bigfoot. From the heart of the South, this is Alabama Adventures. Whoops, caught me there tonight. Tonight I want to tell you about an encounter that a policeman had with what he believed was Bigfoot. The policeman that told me this story, I've known him for a long time, many years. He, at the time that this encounter took place, he was working for the Roanoke Police Department. He later moved on to a deputy sheriff job in a county I won't call the county. But now he is still in law enforcement today. He's just been a lifelong career for him, and he's a very good policeman. Known him a long time, like I said. But anyway, what happened to him was one night while he and his partner was on night patrol. Now, let me sort of get the setting for you. Roanoke Police Department many years ago had a pistol range, to where a lot of the policemen went out there and practiced and just target practice and this type of stuff. A lot of people in town also went out there to shoot, maybe to set a scope or just keep in practice shooting and this type of stuff. But the pistol range was located on a little side road behind where the Walmart over there on Highway 431 is now. So if you know where Walmart is over there now, it was under construction, as a matter of fact, whenever this happened. So if you know where Walmart is over there, then you've got an idea of where everything happened that I'm fixing to tell you about. But anyway, a lot of times he said whenever they were on night patrol, they rode out to the pistol range just to see if anybody was out there that wasn't supposed to be out there. And there was this little shack out there on the pistol range that sometimes, like a homeless person or somebody just wandering through or whatever, would sometimes get in that shack to, I guess, for sleep or to get out of the weather. And I believe he said on this particular night it was kind of a rainy, drizzly, foggy night out there. It was kind of cool weather. And he said anyway, they pulled down the little dirt road that led out to the shack out there on this pistol range. And as he got in front of the shack, he said the reason that they checked it to make sure wasn't anybody in there was in case there was somebody in there sleeping, and say the next morning somebody come over to practice. Not that they shot the shack or anything like that, but a stray bullet could go through the shack and somebody could get shot. But anyway, he said it was around about midnight or maybe 1 o'clock, And said they pulled up in front of the shack, and he turned on the floodlights, or I believe he called them takedown lights, to where it really illuminated the area to where he could see good where he was walking. Because you have to sort of be careful out at night. You don't never know what you're going to walk up on. But he said he got out of the car, and he was with a partner, and said his partner was riding with him that night, and his partner wasn't going to get out. He was just going to sit there in the car while this particular man took his flashlight and shined like in the window of the old shack to see if anybody was in there. And he said just about time that he got up in front of the shack and turned his flashlight on to look in the window, he said he heard something bumping and rumbling around behind the shack. So he thought it was somebody. So he immediately went to the side of the shack to where he could see around, and said he shined his light back that way, and said just about time he got to the corner of this old shack, he heard something running, and he looked up. Of course, the takedown lights, I believe is what he called them, were shining up against this a tree line. And he said down this tree line ran some kind of very tall creature. He said the best he could tell, it was brown. It was covered completely in long hair. He said he estimated it to stand at least 8 feet tall. And said it didn't run real fast, but said it was sort of moving on. And said it ran down the tree line and ran out of sight, ran on out of the beam of the lights. And said he just thought there for a second or two, did I just see a Bigfoot? Was that what that was? And he said he turned on around and he came on back to the car. Said he really didn't get in a hurry. Said he saw this thing, but he wasn't really frightened at it. But he said he came on back and he got in the car. Said he didn't say anything to his partner about it, and his partner didn't say anything. Said he was just going to see if his partner would say anything. So said anyway, they backed up and turned around, and said they came on out of the pistol range and headed on back into Roanoke. And said as they came through town, of course the street lights and that type of stuff was on in towns, and it was kind of light to where they had to turn to go out to the police station. And he said whenever he started to make another turn on another little street, I know exactly where it is, where the police station is and everything, and that's what I was keeping in mind while I was telling it. And he said as they made this little turn to the left and headed out toward the police station, said he asked his partner, he said, said I got something that I want to ask you. And said that was as far as he got. He said, I got something that I want to ask you. And he said his partner said, I know what you're about to ask. And he said, I saw something run down the edge of those woods over there, and said it was covered in hair. And he said it was around 7.5 to 8 feet tall is what I would estimate. So they both saw this thing. And that's what he told me. He said, I wasn't just hallucinating or thought I saw it. He said my partner described the same thing. And he said they talked about it just briefly till they got on back to the police station, and they decided not to say anything to any of the other officers whenever they got back, because a lot of time ridicule goes along with this kind of stuff. But he said they went on back to the police station and said they were in there a while, and they got a call from a policeman about 2 o'clock that morning, and wanted them to come out. He said that he needed assistance, and he told them where he was. Said he was in front of the construction site where they were building Walmart, and he had a vehicle pulled over, and he wished that they would come out there and talk to this guy. So they both got in the car and headed out that way. They thought maybe it was somebody that was drunk and was trying to talk his way out of a ticket or going to jail or whatever. But said when they got out there, said this guy wasn't drunk. Said he was just hysterical. Said he was very frightened. And the policeman out there that was already on the scene, he didn't have this guy pulled over. The guy had pulled over, and whenever the policeman saw this car was pulled over at like 2 o'clock in the morning, he pulled over to see if the guy was okay, not knowing if he was sick or maybe had a heart attack or something was wrong with him. And when he walked up to the car, this guy was just all upset and frightened. And anyway, the policeman that I know real well said he asked a guy, what was going on, was something wrong, what could they do for him? And said this guy was just all upset. He said as he came along 431 and came over this little hill and his headlights shined down the road there to where he could see real well. He said there was this creature of some kind in the road chasing several chickens, and it had managed to catch one. And when it caught this chicken, it stood up straight, and it was on two legs. And he said he was pretty close to it by this time with his car lights in his car. And he said that he estimated this thing to be 7 or 8 feet tall. It was very muscular, very large, and it was brown. And when it caught this chicken, it just took off running over the construction site where Walmart was built. And this happened about in front of where the Murphy oil station is now. But the reason this thing was chasing chickens out in the highway all day that day and on into the night, somebody was emptying their chicken house, and several of these 18-wheelers, loads of chickens with chicken coops, had been going down the road that day. And he said, as a matter of fact, they had the chickens had the chicken trucks had gone by a little while after dark, and on into the night. They were emptying the chicken house as they normally do. And one of the chicken coops had fell off of this truck, and it had busted there on the highway, and several chickens were just running around. And he said when they got there that there was like 4 or 5 chickens still there on the edge of the road and walking around, running around. But that's what had frightened this guy that had pulled over. He had seen what he thought was a Bigfoot. Well, he didn't identify it as a Bigfoot. It was just a creature like he had never seen anything like it before, and it had caught this chicken and had took off across the construction site where Walmart was being built. So that was just a report from like 2 policemen and then some man that was just passing through, or maybe he was a resident of Roanoke. I'm not sure. But that was just a little story that a policeman, who is a very reliable witness whenever it comes to Bigfoot. And I do have a lot of policemen, I have a lot of deputies, a lot of law enforcement people contact me and tell me stories similar to this, because they can't tell anybody else. They're really afraid of the ridicule. And some of them claim that they might actually lose their job from saying that they saw a Bigfoot. So I do get a lot of stories from law enforcement, and just wanted to share that story with everybody tonight about a very reliable witness. A policeman had an encounter with what they believe was Bigfoot. So what he believes is the Bigfoot that he and his partner saw was the same. Whoop. Let me get my shirt buttoned up. So what he believes happened was he and his partner saw a Bigfoot. At about an hour or so later that night, the Bigfoot came through the woods, because the pistol range was just right behind where Walmart is now, and it was then also. But he believes it was very possibly the same Bigfoot that was on the pistol range that this man almost hit in his car and frightened him so bad about an hour later. And as I always do, I'd like to say hello to my granddaughter Madison. I'd like to also tell you that the Alabama Bigfoot Society's run completely out of pocket, and if you could see your way to make a donation, it would be very much appreciated. If you like this video, I would ask you to give us a like, and if you like what we're doing down here in Alabama in our investigations and research of Bigfoot, we'd like you to subscribe to the channel. And we'll be looking for you next time on the next Alabama adventure, getting close to Bigfoot.